Welcome to Prepare Like a Pro Live Chat Sunday show. Thank you for tuning in. It's been a huge week on the podcast, and thank you for everyone that's sent in their questions and been engaged in our live chat show. Got a massive segment coming up. We're going to debrief Gavin Bell's live chat that we had during the week, head of development of the West Coast Eagles. I'm going to talk about the new coaches that we've brought on board. Nalesh Murti, the senior performance physiotherapist at GWS Giants. And we've actually got an 8-week high performance program that we've put together, and there's a giveaway as well for the first 4 weeks of that program, plus 2 high performance education sessions. We're giving away for free for a lucky 10 people that are involved. If you're watching this live chat, there's an opportunity to jump on this giveaway that we're announcing tomorrow night live on Instagram at 8 p.m. We have 7 people that have followed all the tasks. So there's 3 spots up for grabs, a really high chance to win that 4-week program. All you need to do is head to our Instagram page to enter, follow the simple steps on the Instagram post, and you'll be a great chance to enter this program and get a free program as well as a couple of presentations, all worth $200. So highly recommend that program. Nalesh's experience speaks for itself. He's been at GWS Giants for the last 9 years, working in the medical space. He's a sports physio by trade, but because he works in rehabilitation, he also has some sound strength and conditioning programming philosophy, and his skill set is a great fit, a great asset for the Prepare Like a Pro program. So I'm super excited and humbled to have him on our program. We're launching that 8-week program to start October 11th. So if you're interested to join, just message us on Instagram. There's also going to be a lucky 1 member who gets the best results and is very consistent with their training will win a year membership on the Prepare Like a Pro online program valued at $799. Sorry. So out of all the people that will be on the program, there'll be 1 that will choose that will win $800 work on that program for free. So plenty going on, guys. We've also brought on Beatrice Devlyn, who is a strength and conditioning coach out in Perth. So great to have a coach out in Western Australia. She's played AFLW. She's completed her Masters in Strength and Conditioning, and she's another great coach that's joining our team. So, pumped to have her on board and really looking forward to working with more athletes over on the west side of the country. If you're interested in working with Beatrice or Nalesh, the best place to go is our Instagram channel. You can click the link in our bio, fill out the athlete inquiry form, and we'll get in contact with you very soon and talk about your goals, your medical history, and everything you want to achieve for the upcoming 2022 season. So we also will talk about our upcoming guests this week. We've got 2 podcasts like we do every week, Tuesday and Friday. So I'll announce those in a second. And there's a coaching session as well that will be on our YouTube channel this Wednesday. So let's dive in, guys. We'll start with a debrief from Gavin Bell, the head of development at the West Coast Eagles. This was a fantastic chat. There was some huge takeaways from it. And I know I got a lot out of the discussion with Gavin. He addressed the importance of understanding yourself and working on your self-awareness and what triggers you, and having the ability to be able to understand where you're at your best and what makes you your best, and also what can trigger you to react in a negative way, and try and prevent that from happening before it does. So I thought that was a really profound message to have. He talked about the importance of development and not rushing your development, whether it be from a coaching point of view. He said early days he felt like he was rushing to get to the top, and that actually affected his ability to coach and teach those in front of him, and be present on that task. So he found more recently, as he's got more experience working at the AFL level, he's now head of development. He's takes great pride out of teaching those in front of him and making sure he's present while he's coaching and he's not rushing his process. So I thought that was another great message for athletes. And I know personally as a coach, you can have big dreams and want to rush the process, and climb the ladder, so to speak, in elite sport. But it can distract you from doing the best job with the athletes that you're currently working with. So I thought that was a really good message. What else did we talk about? He discussed the importance of having mentors, influencers, and all the great athletes that he's gratefully worked with, how grateful he was to work with like your Nick Nat-Nuis and Luke Shuey, and have an impact on their career. And talked about the importance of mindset and attitude for those that want to get better, and how they have an individual needs program at West Coast for all staff and all players, where they're focusing on their strengths and really sharpening their strengths. And he mentioned throughout the whole podcast how his ability to teach, being a teacher by trade, really allowed him to excel in the AFL industry. And early days when they had a bit of change in the coaching department, he was able to help out the coaches that were elite players and had a strong playing experience, but were new in the coaching realm. So he talked about the importance of only overdoing it in meetings, but having 3 key messages in your meetings with players. And I think that's a really good message for players as well to focus on. Try not to overwhelm yourself in the world of information that we now live in. Try and focus on simplifying that information and working out, almost filtering out what's relevant to you, and scrapping what's not, because you don't want to feel stressed and overwhelmed. That's only going to negatively affect your ability to perform and recover. So, great chat. If you are looking, you missed that live chat, the YouTube channel Prepare Like a Pro is the best place to go. We've got the whole recording there. It was about an hour and 10-minute chat, so you can catch the whole episode there, and then we'll post the podcast on Spotify and iTunes in the next couple of months. In terms of this week, tomorrow I'm catching up with Gary Baker, the ex vice captain at Melbourne Football Club. He played 147 games, Melbourne, Footscray, as well as Sydney. He's a ruckman, and he's now doing great things over in Tasmania. He actually played football with my dad at Melbourne Footy Club, so that was the connection there. And looking forward to having him on the podcast tomorrow at 11 a.m. So for those that want to tune in, and if you have any questions for Gary, his nickname The Bull, feel free to send them through via our Instagram channel, and we'll make sure to fit those questions in. And looking forward to chatting with Gary about his career, as well as what he's doing now in the hospitality space as a restaurant. He's been running some successful restaurants in the last 30 years. So looking forward to that chat. And that will be tomorrow. So that's Monday, 11 a.m. for those listening to the podcast. If you're listening to it in the morning and it's before 11 a.m., you still have the opportunity to watch that live chat. So make sure to jump on. In terms of the recordings this week, we've got 2 podcasts coming up. We've got Sam Switkowski, the medium forward for Fremantle Dockers. This was a great chat around how to get drafted as a mature age player. So if you're a footballer out there that missed the draft or didn't get invited to this year's draft combine, and you're looking for a bit of motivation, this is a perfect episode for you. Sam took him a couple of years to work towards getting drafted and talk about the challenges of playing in the VFL system, especially with a dual team where they've got an alliance with a Hawthorn, so an AFL team, and the challenges that can have in just purely getting selected in the team, how he managed working and studying, and trying to, the challenges of trying to fit in gym, at 8 o'clock at night after a full day's work and training really hard, as well as he talked about the demands of the game, and how he's had bad luck with injuries, and how he's managed his body and the things he's learned along the way. So super inspiring chat, really informative, and he provides a lot of practical insight into what the AFL players need to go through these days, and how to deal with pressure as well. There's a lot of discussions around mindset and mental health. So that will be released on iTunes, Spotify, and all your podcast directories on Tuesday. Our education session will be on how to prepare for your future self, and well as the importance of fitness testing, and that will be released on live from our YouTube channel at 6:30 p.m. on Wednesday. For those new to our podcast, or for those listening to the live socials right now, we post an education presentation every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. So make sure to tune in. You can watch those via our YouTube channel, like I mentioned, and they're for free. So it's something that we've been doing the last few weeks to help those in the off season, those going through maybe lockdown, and it's something that we're passionate about, sharing information to to help everyone get better in their athlete development pursuits. So that one is a really good one. I talk about the importance of not just thinking about the now and doing things on the now. That can be quite tempting, the easy things that you're focusing on, which will be your pleasures, which will be the current, but actually trying to think 80% of the time, how can you prepare yourself for your future self to be better? And sometimes that's doing things that might not feel as good as at the time. So, for example, might be rather than staying up all night and playing Xbox, you want to get to sleep. So you're looking after your future self. So the next day you've got good energy to get into your training and recover well from the previous day's training. So that's an example. But I'd go into great detail in that presentation. And then the importance of fitness testing, understanding the demands of your position that you play, how you stack up against your competition for other players that play in that position, but also comparing yourself to yourself and seeing how your athletic fitness testing, speed, vertical jump, strength. So how does that athletic profile improve over time, and where GPS fits in with all that as well. So that'll be a good presentation for the footballers out there, but even your strength and conditioning coaches that are interested in those topics. And then our next podcast will be on Friday with Jay Ellis, the Melbourne United strength and conditioning coach. There were premiers for 2021 NBL season. We talked about his whole career journey as a strength and conditioning coach. He worked at Melbourne Football Club, Collingwood, managed Casey Demons, and travelled over to America as well and worked in college football. So it was a great chat for all your strength and conditioning coaches that I know a lot of you guys tune into the podcast. Make sure to pencil in this Friday where we talk Jay Ellis's career path, all the things that he's done to get to where he is today, and how he sort of sets his targets and things that he's working on. He's quite a well-rounded coach. He's worked in gym roles, he's worked in conditioning roles, rehabilitation, sports science, so he's done it all across different sports as well. So plenty to take out of for those sports scientists and strength and conditioning coaches that have big dreams and ambitions and want to follow a career path similar to Jay, where he's working in elite sport. So make sure to tune in next Friday on your Spotify and iTunes. And in terms of the 8-week program, for those interested, like I mentioned at the start, guys, there is 3 spots. So if you're listening to this live one, make sure to head to our Instagram channel, click the link in our bio to get started. And if you're listening to the podcast, you haven't missed out. If it's Monday, which is when we release this podcast, make sure to act right now. Go to our Instagram page, click the link in our bio, get started. There's 3 spots to get $200 worth of programming. Couldn't speak more highly of this program. To have a strength and conditioning coach as well as a physio come together is optimal. And for particularly those that have had a lot of injuries in the off season, and you need an intelligent program to follow and trust, this would be the one for you, and you get it for free the first 4 weeks at least, as well as 2 high performance presentations that you get to choose from our store free. So really recommend getting on board, guys. Like I said, there's 7 people that have followed every task, so there's 3 spots available. We'll announce the winner tomorrow, so that'll be Monday night at 8 p.m. Nalesh and I will be going live from Instagram. We'll announce all 10 winners, and then that program will start on the 11th of October. It'll include 3 running sessions where we'll do a 2K time trial, and then we'll have some running targets for you to hit during those running sessions. So there'll be personalized targets to hit. I've had on this exact running program, I've had people achieve sub 6-minute 2K time trial. That's not a promise that you're going to get that. Obviously, they started at a strong level, but you can get significant gains, 5, even up to 10% improvement. So that's shaving up to nearly 20 seconds over 8 weeks on this exact program, as well as get sub 3 seconds on their 20-meter. So you can get faster and improve your aerobic capacity on this program. It's being done. So it's trialed and tested and been refined over the last few years. So that program is a good one. In terms of the gym, you'll get 2 lower body sessions focused on improving your power and strength. So really good for your contested game and your first 3 steps, your acceleration and aerial game. So there'll be 2 lower body sessions. There'll be an upper body strength session to help with your fend off ability and resisting tackles and sticking tackles, and then a total body session just to build that body armor. And then Nalesh will come in and adjust the program to make sure that there's plenty of injury prevention in there. the program will be not just focusing on performance, but also focusing on making sure you're reducing the likelihood of injury. So what we mean by bulletproofing your body, because it's such a demanding game, we need to make sure that we're preparing the body for the demands of the game. Okay, so preventing your likelihood of injury. This is a great program for that, and that's where Nalesh will come in. He'll tweak the running program, tweak the strength and power program, as well as add in some accessory supplementary work that he's tried and tested in the GWS program in his own clinic. And yeah, it'll be one that basically involves everything. So could recommend jumping on that program more. Really excited to collaborate with Nalesh on that one. It starts on 11th of October. Like I mentioned as well, if you aren't in the Locking 10, you can purchase that program. And it goes for 8 weeks. It starts on 11th of October. And there'll be one winner that will get a free year's worth on our online strength and conditioning program valued at $799. So if you're interested in that program, click the Instagram bio, get started, and I will speak to you guys very soon. Here's a short little video about our coaches.
Yeah, hi, my name's Ben Frith. I'm a strength and conditioning coach here with Prepare Like a Pro. I also currently work with St Kilda Football Club for their women's program, where I'm the head of strength and conditioning. Got previous experience working in the AFL, also with St Kilda Football Club, and then also with their VFL programs both in VFL and VFLW.
My name's Dylan Bazzari, currently a strength and conditioning coach at Prepare Like a Pro. A little bit of background on me, I've been a personal trainer since 2014, and then through that sort of worked into the strength and conditioning space. Currently find myself as high performance manager at the Vauxhall Hawks, and through that role I get some opportunity throughout the week to work with Hawthorn in the AFL program.